We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin.
And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Wuju. It is extra hot sauce, sweet heat. And I'm just not 100% sure what this is going for. It does mention fusion dishes, and fusion cuisine, I think, is one of those things that is really hit or miss. Sometimes you get something that's actually pretty solid. A lot of the times you get sort of vile combinations that you wish somebody would not have done. So here we've got, starting with agave, then mango, yellow mustard, water, orange juice concentrate, brown sugar, habanero pepper, white vinegar, chili powder, curry powder, cumin, salt, and black pepper. So you see we have this sort of nice tannish color to it, nice light brown. The sauce, I think, looks pretty good, but it is such a wild hodgepodge of ingredients that I think they're trying to go for something to cover almost everything, and in a way it just doesn't do it well. It's a, jack of all trades, master of none kind of a arrangement here. The original has the exact same ingredient profile as does this one, so I'm not quite sure why this would be extra hot, because it doesn't read particularly hot at all to me. Got a little lichen to stick there at the top of the neck. No big deal. You can see it's very smooth. Probably a medium thickness or so. It does stick well to stuff. It reminds me a little bit of the Inner Beauty hot sauce, just not as much as I wish it did. So we can see here, I guess there's little tinges of orange in it. Mostly it's that beautiful tan, light brownish color here. Little flecks of what I presume is a chili or possibly the curry powder here. You can see it doesn't really like to stick to this spoon, though. That doesn't like things stuck to it. It's not holding on to that very well, but it does hold on pretty well to food. So with that said, let's get into getting. Getting some brown sugar, more or less its sort of overall sweetness with the mustard. On the back side, a little bit of a tongue tingle. Starting to pick up little notes of the cumin and the chili powder, and I think the curry powder. And it is just, those are more like afternotes, but it is just an odd concoction of just different flavors that honestly I'm not sure this works. It's very, very unique. It's very interesting. I mean, it's not bad tasting. It's just, I think there's an oddness to it that I find just a bit on the off-putting side. So mustard and roast beef go very well together, and I've made this in other videos as well, but the problem with this stuff is I couldn't find anything anywhere where I thought it was just great. That was the big issue with me with this. And I mean, on chicken strips, I'd honestly rather have something else. but it's okay there. On burgers, same thing. And just, I think sometimes putting, like putting gochujang together with, say, steak, that's a good sort of fusiony sort of thing. It's not super fusiony. You're making basically just a Korean sauce steak, but that you could say is an influence of two different cuisine styles that functions really well. And sometimes you get something that is just fantastic, and you wonder why everybody's not doing it always, And that's why we try new things. We want to find stuff like that where, it's like, oh, where's this been all my life? Kind of a deal. But this combination is just, it's strange. Alright, I'll get a good amount of both sides of the bun here. Hopefully you can see that. Just a nice, fresh deli bun. Nice and crunchy on the outside, beautiful and soft on the inside. I mean, you can see this is over the halfway mark, and I have just not found where I think this works. And I think it's just because there's so many different elements and so many moving parts to it that you get something that'll be okay, and then some of the other flavor notes will rear their heads in there, and you'll say, oh, I wish I didn't have this. I wish I had something different, which is, anyway, that's been the case for me. Just a nice, lovely roast beef here is pretty much what we got. And muenster cheese. Throw a little bit of that on. There. Okay. Just a boar's head roast beef, nothing too crazy. There you go. Yeah, let's have another piece of cheese here. And we'll just finish up the rest of this. Alright, it's going to be a gigantic sandwich, I'm afraid. Alright, I'm going to have this, just a bit of the muenster by itself. The kind of almost a ceremonial thing I like to do with cheese. Just have it by itself, kind of get a feel for it. Really wonderful. A lot of people use cheddar on their roast beef, or have already. I'll use those. I got no problem using those. But this this particular one is a little something special. Okay. Look at that. Oh, my bun split. That's too bad. I'm getting a lot more of the curry than I wish I had. Ooh, way too. All those notes I'm getting curry. And a little bit of the orange. That's a shame. This is not good on this sandwich. Remember I was saying I wish I had something else? Well, I'm saying it again. The regular must not really have any heat at all. I didn't buy a bottle of the regular also. This particular one I got from the chili addict down in Albuquerque. When I went to the Fiery Show, March of this year, 2022. Never heard of Wuju. And they make other sauces as well. Hopefully more normal ones. I know they have a teriyaki and a few other ones. You know, and that's the thing, right? When you make a hot sauce, do you go for something original and novel that really isn't out there anywhere else, like this one is? Or do you go for something more familiar? Clearly, they chose the novel and unique approach, which is fine. I think they just got a little bit away from what we needed to have here. You know, which was an excellent sauce. When you use it with food. This is the first place I've tried it, though, I will say, where I objectively disliked it. A lot of other ones I'll try it and I'll say, well, it's okay. Or what have you. Here, this was not a smart thing to do. This was a mistake. This was a bad move. This is not great on sandwiches. Like I said, I don't know where to put it. I might try to grill with it. See how that goes. I've done hundreds of sauces. And, you know, if I'm blasting through 60% of the bottle and I still can't get a read on it, I think that kind of says something. So maybe maybe it'd be better on Indian food, but honestly, I don't eat a lot of Indian. Matter of fact, I can't tell you the last thing I've had that's Indian. I think I made some tandoori chicken myself a few years back. Might have had some naan or something here and there, but that flavor combination it doesn't click with me. And it could be because the Indian food tends to be so onion heavy. Outside of the naan and the tandoori chicken, especially when I make it. So this might work well there, I guess, but cumin chili powder. You know, that's a lot of what you come across in Mexican style cuisine. Mixing that with curry powder and mustard, of all things. You know, they point out the turmeric here. You know, and you can get a sort of Turkish Mediterranean vibe a little bit. Turmeric is Arabic, where turmeric plays a pretty heavy role, but I don't think trying to shove that much of a global tour into a bottle, I don't think it works that well. I really don't know how it's going to go with grilling. Starts with agave and then it has extra brown sugar on top of that. It's not super sweet. It's kind of right on the verge, right on the border. But maybe we'll give that a whack. Throw it on the grill. I don't know what else to do with it. I really think that's kind of the last gasp. And if that doesn't work, it's going to be, to the bin. At this point, I'm tired of chasing it and not finding somewhere where that works that well. It just might be an incompatible sauce, but I think it's an interesting approach. I just don't really find it a very successful one, I guess, from my end. And there's precious little heat actually in it, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help anything that we have a hot sauce that really isn't particularly hot. I've noticed that a lot this year, actually, too. That I'm seeing a lot of sauces that are calling themselves hot sauce that aren't actually hot. And that probably is a coincidence because I think some of these hot sauces were out prior to this year, and I'm just now getting to a lot of those. But it's just something that I've kind of observed in the past, a little bit. And you can check the blog where the breakdown of all the ratings is and just kind of look at where the heat is falling. I don't intentionally buy one level of heat over another. I just kind of buy what it looks interesting to me at the time. 90% of what you see on this channel and on the blog is stuff that I just buy directly because I like it and I'm hoping it'll be something good to consume. But a lot of that's hard to guess. You don't really know unless you like the hot ones. Sauces, obviously, I know a little bit better. But a lot of the other ones, you see them and you say, okay, well, this says a hot and an extra hot. In that case, I usually opt for the extra hot, because I want a little punch. I mean, a chili head after all. And I've spoken about the label rating system, the heat rating systems before, and how it's not geared towards chili heads. Even though you would think that hot sauce and chili heads, the primary market would be more towards chili heads, but I just find it kind of interesting. I guess they might cater to non-chili heads because there is way more of them in the world than there is chili heads, at least for right now. But who knows? Maybe we're at the front edge of a revolution. Certain last couple of years have been the year of spicier foods. So, but anyway, I guess that's not really relative to this sauce. This sort of mustardy, sweet, slightly Mexican-y, Indian-y sort of bottled weirdness, I guess, is where I'll leave it. But anyway, there it is, the Wuju Extra Hot Sauce.
Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.